Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be doing a complete review of the Poco M7 Pro. Now, it's been like 6 months since this phone has been launched in India, and right now it's being sold at 13,000 rupees for the base variant, and I have the base variant. Now, I must say that I was looking to buy a Redmi phone, Poco phone, or a Xiaomi phone under 20,000 rupees. Obviously, I can't buy a Xiaomi phone, but still. Basically, I'm looking for a phone with HyperOS under 15,000 rupees segment, and this was actually one of the best configuration one. And that's the reason I bought it like 2 weeks ago, and I'm really regretting my decision. Well, before we get into the bad stuff, let's look at what's good about this phone. If you just want a clear answer, you can directly jump to the conclusion. Now, talking about the good points, first, the build quality is really top notch. It's completely made of plastic, but still, it feels quite premium. It looks like a very premium phone. This phone has a thickness of 7.99 mm and weighs just 190 grams. I won't say it's perfect or amazing, but still, it's a pretty sleek phone for the price, and it weighs pretty light as well. Overall, it's definitely a very solid build. Next best thing about this phone is definitely its display. It's an OLED display. It's not Super AMOLED or an AMOLED display. Poco calls it G-OLED display, but still, anyway, display looks pretty vibrant. Blacks are really blacks. Sunlight legibility is also pretty good. It also has Corning Gorilla Glass 5 for protection. It has HDR10 Plus support, wideband L1 support, and has a peak brightness of 2100 nits. For regular usage, you might not notice major difference, but while watching videos or movies directly on the phone, the experience is definitely pretty impressive. This phone also comes with color modes, so you can go with either saturated or more vivid or the more natural colors. So overall, display is definitely the second best thing about this phone, and this is probably one of the cheapest phone where you can actually get an AMOLED display in this price range, like 13,000 segment. Next best thing about this phone are definitely its dual stereo speakers. Unlike most other phones which actually use the earphone as a secondary speaker, this one actually comes with a secondary speaker, and the audio experience is actually pretty good. It also comes with Dolby Atmos, and the audio experience is definitely pretty good. In fact, pretty impressive, I would say. Like, you also get a nice surround effect, definitely not as good as the Pixel or the Apple, but still, for the price, it offers great audio experience from the stereo speakers. Here's a quick preview. The next best thing about this phone are definitely its cameras, and the cameras are also once again its cons. I'll talk more about that in the con section, but these are the specifications. This one comes with a 50 megapixel Sony Letia 600 sensor with optical image stabilization, 2 megapixel macro camera, you can just ignore that, and for selfies, we get a 20 megapixel camera. Now these are some sample shots. Now for the price, the camera on this phone is definitely pretty impressive, and probably this is one of the best camera centric phones in this price segment, but it has its horrible issues. Do let me know what do you think about these sample photos. Like, how would you rate this phone with other phones in this price segment like Vivo T4X, iQOO Z10X, or the Realme P3? Comment below this video. Next best thing about this phone is definitely its software features. Now this phone is running HyperOS, which is like the next evolution of MIUI. You get all kinds of fancy features, gestures and all. These are some of my favorite features. First, we have a completely different control center, which definitely looks like an iPhone, but still I like it. Next, we have dual apps where you can use 2 instances of the same application. We have a lot of cool gestures like 3-finger screenshot, partial screenshot, and you have multi-window gestures. Now all these gestures just make using the phone a bit more seamless and very fluid. I personally like all these gestures. Next, we also have camera features like object eraser. You can add bokeh to your regular photos. You can also change the sky. It also has call recorder built into the phone, and it can secretly record all your calls for people who are interested. And we can also increase the volume all the way up to 300%, which I would not recommend because the speakers will be dead pretty soon. Anyway, it's a fancy feature. Next, the battery life is also pretty good. Now this phone comes with a 5100 mAh battery. That's the rough number anyway. So battery life is pretty good. It can definitely last you an entire day. But when you specifically compare it with phones like Vivo T4X, which comes with 6500 mAh battery, or even the Realme P3, which comes with 6000 mAh battery, this phone feels just average. So battery life is good, but it's just average. Now coming to the bad part, it's all about performance. This one comes with a MediaTek Dimensity 7025 Ultra processor with 6GB RAM and 128GB storage for the base variant. Now the RAM is LPDDR4X, which is okay, but the storage is UFS 2.2, which is kind of slow. Now the performance of the phone is pretty okay, I would say. It's running smoothly, only if there isn't anything running in the background. Like if you go to Play Store, install some application and try to do something else, then the phone will will definitely feel a bit slower. Like all the animations look a bit slower, jittery. You can definitely notice the difference. And if you still have something downloading in the background, you can still notice the same. And when you first pick up the phone, after some time, like you just put the phone aside for 10-20 minutes, come back to the phone, try to unlock the phone, everything is smooth, but you can still notice those small jitteriness or lag in the animations. So that's definitely a bit annoying. Overall, for a normal user, it's definitely not a problem. For heavy gamers, I would definitely not recommend this phone. This is not for gaming at all. Like if you want to play games, you can still play them slowly. But if you're a hardcore gamer, there are much better choices out there. So here comes the issue. The main problem with this phone is the camera. Well, the camera sensor is good. Camera optimization is also pretty good. But sometimes, especially in low lighting conditions, cameras become extremely slow. Like the entire camera application feels sluggish. It doesn't respond. I can't even go back to the home screen. It stutters a lot. It's a really horrible experience. I'm not sure if it's a bug just on my phone or with this particular Android update version or something else. But so far, the camera experience in low lighting indoor conditions is horrible. Sometimes when I'm outside, cameras are actually pretty good. Everything is pretty smooth, but sometimes they lag a lot. So there seems to be a camera bug which is completely ruining the experience of this phone. With all that said, performance is definitely pretty good for a normal user. Like if you're coming from a phone under 10,000 to a Poco M7 Pro, you might feel that the performance is okay. But if you're downgrading from a better processor phone to this one, you'll definitely notice a lot of lag. So that's definitely a huge con. I'll try to reset the phone and see if it can fix the issue. If it does, I'll mention later. So far, it's a horrible experience. By the way, haptic engine on this phone is pretty average, I would say. It's not bad, but it's barely usable. By the way, this is the case that we get inside the box. It's actually a very nice gesture and the quality also looks pretty good. But once you put it on, I have a hard time with the gestures. So I would recommend you to either get another case or use the phone without the case, which is definitely not safe. So better get a good case. So guys, to conclude, Poco M7 Pro is definitely a pretty good phone on the paper. It definitely has pretty good cameras, but optimization is definitely missing. Especially the lagging issue is horrible. With all that said, you have a lot of better options in the market right now, like the Vivo T4X, iQOO Z10X, Realme P3, CMF Phone 1, CMF Phone 2. We have all these options. You can get better performance, better battery life or bigger battery life, and definitely better camera performance as well. So at least right now, as of May 2025, I'll definitely not recommend this phone. Okay, after all this, I still wanted to give this phone another chance. So I've completely reset the phone and this is my user experience after that. Now the UI feels a lot more smoother. There is still a bit of jitters and lags, but still it's much better than earlier. And this is a camera application. It's also functioning normally. Capturing speeds and switching between modes is a bit faster. There is still a bit of lag here and there, but still it's much better than earlier. Now this is what I think. When I switched on to this phone, I pulled a lot of apps from my previous phone, like probably like 100. I don't think that's the reason why the camera got so slow. Anyway, so far after a complete reset, camera app is working decently. And another thing I forgot to try out is clearing the storage and cache of camera app before the reset. Anyway, right now without any other applications, along with some bloatware apps, camera app is usable. I'll be using this phone for another week or so. So if I have any update, I'll let you know in the comment section below. By the way, do you want me to make a gaming review for this phone? If yes, comment below this video. I'll make it for sure. So guys, that's all for this video. If you have any questions about this phone, do let me know by commenting below this video and I'll reply to you as soon as possible. With that said, this is Nikhil signing off. See you next time.